Hey, what's up guys? Coach Wayne Willett here. Hope you're doing good. I wanted to talk to you guys today about how to eat bad and still stay lean. I know that sounds too good to be true, but before I get into the details, don't forget, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be pumping out some videos as it relates to nutrition, fitness, and just an overall healthy lifestyle. Things that I've learned over the past 2 decades that have made thousands of people successful with reaching all of their goals, myself included. So today, let's talk about how to eat bad and still stay lean. Now, what I mean by that more specifically is we need to, in order to sustain long-term success, we need to have some sort of a cheat meal planned out, a cheat regimen, so to speak, that will allow us to stay focused and stay motivated to continue to be healthy. There's too many distractions out there these days. The way that people in general, I say the common thing to do is to celebrate birthdays and graduations and promotions, and any sort of function of celebrating always has sugar involved. So it's very hard to say no to that stuff every single time. Not only willpower wise, but also you don't want to be that guy or that girl that is always like a stick in the mud. And people stop inviting you places or to celebrations because they know that you're either on some diet that won't allow you to eat it, or you're just going to say no and be suck the life out of the party. So I'm going to share some things with you guys that I've learned and I've practiced that help keep people eating bad, staying lean, and not being a stick in the mud. So first of all, let's talk about the method of nutrition that I've developed that I use on all of my clients, including myself, is QQT. It stands for quality, quantity, and timing. And the way it works is I've taken the creme de la creme from many popular, successful ways of eating that don't seem to be common enough for us to be able to sustain in the long term. They're very extreme ways of eating, but I've liked certain things from different types of regimens, and so what I've done is I've kind of taken the creme de la creme, and instead of just focusing on one element like eating quality foods, for instance, or eating the right quantities but not paying attention to quality, or just eating certain types of foods during certain times of the day and not eating certain times, or not eating certain types of food after certain times of the day. So those are all three kind of broken down. When most people eat, they eat what's called a standard American diet. And when they make a change, so let's say they start eating quality food, they're making 100% improvement from where they're at. If somebody goes from a standard American diet, which is just what's commonly available, try to make smart choices, eat out at restaurants, eat at friends, not really kind of paying attention. Maybe they say they eat clean or they watch what they're eating, but we'll just call that the standard American diet. If they go to start tracking the quantity of their foods, then they're doing 100% better than their existing program. Well, why do good when there's better? And why do better when there's best? If our method can take somebody from a standard American diet and improve 3 equally important components, quality, quantity, and timing, you're now doing 300% better than the standard American diet. So, understanding the quality, the quantity, and timing, I use that same mentality when it comes to cheating. So here's what I do. I'm a professor, Professor Wayne Willett. You're taking my class in nutrition. Let's say that you are following a certain plan, or let's say you're following the quality, the QQT, quality, quantity, timing. And you have reached a level that you are happy to maintain. You reached your goal, and now you want to start incorporating some cheats and have more flexibility. Awesome. That's the same mindset that I use. When I have a plan, when I have a goal, let's say that, January of this year, for instance, I started at 228 pounds. I wanted to get down to 205. And so the way that I work is I'm just not going to cheat until I get to 205. That's just how I have to do. I'm just the all or none, right? Some of us that works, some of us it doesn't. But what I always say is set some goals, set some little micro goals. Like what would probably work better for most people is if they started like me at 228 and their end goal is at 205. That's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Let's have a little cheat meal celebration like every 5-pound increments, just to kind of reward yourself for being disciplined, sticking to the plan, and hitting those little micro goals, right? And then it'll keep you on track to hitting your ultimate goal. Well, when you hit your ultimate goal, now what do? Now you're at your weight, you want to maintain, you're happy with the way you look, but you want a little more flexibility. You don't want to be a stick in the mud. So here's what you do. I'm Professor Dub Dub. Dub Dub, my initials, Wayne Willette, so we'll say Dub Dub for short. You're taking my class. If you want to get an A in my class in the quality, quantity, timing, you have to get 90% or higher in my class. Pretty standard, right? So here's how we do that. If I have you guys eating about 5 meals a day, let's say, some people eat more, some people eat less. Just depends on what your goals are, but it's a pretty standard number. So 5 meals a day is what you're eating. Now, over the course of 7 days, let's say you have 30 meals, 35 meals. Now, 35 meals in a week, just say 30 because it's easier number to deal with. If you want to get an A, you have to eat, you can only cheat 3 times. So that means you can have 27 quality meals and 3 bad ones. And 3 bad ones, you're still going to get an A. But you're still going to maintain your weight, and you're still going to look good, feel good, you're not going to be a stick in the mud, and you're going to be able to curb that sweet tooth or whatever that is that you're craving to get motivated and get back on your plan. So, first of all, less than 3 cheats per week. That's cheat meals, not cheat days, okay? Now, if you can plan 2 of those cheats, you now have flexibility for 1, right? So we all have our favorite things that we like to cheat with. Myself, I like pizza, I like ice cream, I like a good beer every once in a while. So with that being said, I'm going to probably plan to have a few slices of pizza, a couple of beers, and then separately at a different time during the week, I'm going to have probably some ice cream. And I just planned out 2 cheats. I left myself flexibility for 1. And now if I get invited to a kid party, a graduation, a wedding, something else, they're going to look and go, oh, he's not going to have any cake. Look at him. Oh, no, I'll take a slice of that cake. Thanks. And now I'm not a stick in the mud. I'm celebrating. I'm having fun. And I'm still sticking to my plan. All right? So first of all, that's the most important thing, is the amount, the quantity. So we're looking at 3 times total per the week. And also, I want to make sure that you guys aren't having those back-to-back. So if you say, okay, well, I got 3 meals, why don't I just make Sunday a cheat day? Monday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is just going to be cheat. And then back on the saddle Monday. Well, first of all, it's really important that you spread those out. Your metabolism is running nice and hot. It's like a bed of coals. I always give the campfire analogy. And when the metabolism is running really hot and you throw a giant log on there, what's going to happen? Most likely you're going to smolder those coals. And when the big log goes on the fire, it lacks oxygen. It takes a long time to catch on fire. And then when it finally does, it burns through it. It's got some good momentum. And then what do? You go again and you throw a giant log on there. And then you do it again. And then before you know it, the fire is just all smoke. So that's sort of how your metabolism works. The way that your thermogenesis, naturally your body heats up and burns through those calories. So if we back to back, we're bogging it down too much, and bogging it down too much is going to affect the way you feel the next day. It's going to slow your metabolism to the point where it's sort of going to derail us from our progress. So if you just do 1 at a time, actually it's going to make you feel a lot better, because what happens is it'll slow it down just a little bit, and just by slowing it down a little bit, what happens is that heat from that big log burns really hot, And then what happens is you go back to your normal, small little kindling wood and a medium-sized log, and it actually, by bogging it down, sort of speeds it up and helps it continue with a little bit more momentum as you go back to a clean style of eating, and then you're able to actually benefit from cheating versus bogging your system completely down, all right? So let's, up to 3, let's spread them out over the week. And also, what else do we do? We have to regulate the hormonal response from food. Most of us like to cheat with carbohydrates, sugar, foods that are really, really high in sugar, and what happens is it spikes your blood sugar up, your body releases insulin, and it's just a recipe for storing fat. So here's what I do. I actually mix protein powder and water, and I take that with me. And let's say that I'm going to a wedding or to a birthday or to an event. Right before I go inside, I'll drink that protein. It's just straight protein and water. And studies show that protein helps regulate the insulin response of foods. So if I roll up to, let's say, a Mexican restaurant, what's the first thing they serve you at every Mexican restaurant? Chips and salsa. Of course, somebody's got to make a comment. Oh, Coach Wayne's not going to eat chips today because it's not in his meal plan. And then what do? You grab a chip, start eating chips and salsa. Because guess what? You regulated the insulin response by consuming some protein first. Essentially what you did is you contained your fire. Instead of your fire getting out of control and then burning out, you now kind of kept the flame even keeled with the rest of how your eating habits are. And so now you're getting the extra calories from the poor source of food. The quality is way down, but you're regulating the hormonal response, so you're not getting that stored fat response from eating the sugary foods. All right. Another method that you guys want to keep in mind is you want to try to cheat cleanly if possible. If you can control your environment, so let's say, for instance, I said I like pizza. There's many ways that you can, like for instance, there's a cookbook called Against All Grain. My wife uses it all the time. That cookbook is basically showing you how to eat whatever you want, quality-wise. So any food that you can think of, but instead of succumbing to the standard American commonly available sources like foods that are high in wheat and gluten and corn syrup and GMOs, non-organic, just horrible source of food, you can now take that same food and make it with quality ingredients. And to be honest with you, you won't be able to tell the difference. I know some people say it's not the same. You're right, it's different ingredients, it's better for you, but it tastes better, if not good, because the food, you can tell when it's a quality food versus a cheap food. So what we do is we actually make some of that stuff and we bring it to family events and potlucks and whatever, and people are stoked. They can't have enough of it. It's the only plate that everyone eats the whole thing. And little do they know, we got it from a cookbook from a lady who follows a paleo style of eating, where there's no glutens, no GMO products, genetically modified. There's no wheat, there's no corn syrup. So cheat clean when you can. Look up that cookbook, Against All Grain. You can make anything that you want with quality ingredients. All right? So what have we talked about so far? We've talked about keeping the cheats 3 meals or less, making sure that they're on different days of the week. We've also talked about consuming protein to help regulate the insulin and hormonal response of food to ensure we're not storing body fat. And then the last thing for us fitness enthusiasts out there, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to do a cheat on a day that you're training, okay? Especially with CrossFit and high intensity. What happens to your body metabolically when you complete a workout with a lot of intensity is it affects your metabolism for 16 to 24 hours after the workout, right? Versus somebody who does a little bit of low intensity for a long duration. What happens is they're burning calories when they're exercising, but it's so close to their walking intensity that when they get back to their normal heart rate, their body isn't really metabolically stimulated, so they're not they're not burning calories for 16 to 24 hours after their workout. So, that being said, your metabolism is spiked on a training day. Take advantage of that, okay? By the fact that your body can store a certain amount of energy, and then anything above that basically gets stored as fat. If you train with high intensity, CrossFit or whatever it is that you're doing, your body is depleted, and it's in a state to absorb and replenish all of that lost energy. Versus your body is already full and capped off, and you're on a rest day, you haven't spiked your metabolism, and now you're going to eat extra calories. And so what happens is it is easily stored because there's nowhere for your body to be replenished, there's nowhere for it to absorb the extra energy that you're consuming. All right? So we've talked about 4 things. Quantity, 3 meals or less throughout the week. Frequency, no back-to-back days. We've talked about hormonal response, regulating it with insulin, and we've also talked about making sure it's on a training day. And if you wake up and you have an event to go to on Sunday and it's not a training day, just wake up and do a quick little no warm-up, body weight workout for 10 to 15, 20 minutes. Just do what you can to spike your metabolism. And if you can do these things, you will stay lean, enjoy a cheat, sustain your meal plan for longevity, for your entire life. You'll be able to stay on the same plan that is keeping you successful and getting you to your goals, because you're rewarding yourself and you're using the right quality, quantity, and timing to ensure that you can eat bad and stay lean and don't be a stick in the mud. So these are things that help me. I know that they'll help you guys. Leave some comments, try it out, let me know how you feel. Guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.